Time to do another shop modification video down here in the Nutnfancy workshop. Hello TMPers, thanks for coming along. This will be how I do my underclip modification to knives that need it. And this knife, the newly redesigned Cold Steel AK-47, needs it. Let me tell you first, it is an excellent redesign. It is an improvement over the original Cold Steel AK-47. Look to my tabletop review sometime. I'll cover all the specifics at that time. Great blade, except for that. Very aggressive G10 residing under the pocket clip. I've talked about this in several tabletop reviews. It is annoying, and it actually is more than that. One, it's going to shred your pocket material up like badly. I know from experience. This aggressive G10 is perfect for grip, for your traction. However, it really has no place for directly underneath the pocket clip. I still am perplexed why Cold Steel does that to us. That means you're going to have to do some type of modification to solve that problem. I have talked about it in video before, but I don't think I've ever shown you in detail how I do it. Guys have asked me a lot, so here it comes. Modification video by Nutnfancy. What am I going to use for this? Our old friend, Mr. JB Weld. Just like you saw me use on that Tapco folding stock for the SGL 21. And I'm going to use a quick version of JB Weld. In other words, there's two set times. This is one that sets quicker. That's all you need for this. Step one is also planning where you want to have smoothness under the clip. For this design, I think for now, subject to change, I'm going to go from about this portion here, JB Weld all of that, and I'm probably going to JB Weld this flat portion here. Be careful how you use this material, and you'll see that as I spread it. Anywhere it dries and it does not follow the contours of the blade, you're going to have some sanding to do. With these organic curves coming right here, it's going to be somewhat difficult to tape that. In fact, I might just freehand the application of JB Weld on this because there's really no way, no great way to tape it. We'll see. I'll probably remove that screw. Actually, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. So I'm going to go, the big thing right now is JB Weld here, JB Weld here. And then, of course, we're going to take off the pocket clip. I use a dedicated driver for this, by the way. If you're a knife aficionado, you should have these in your possession because they have a rotating mechanism here. They're just really easy to spin off a mini torque screw. If you're doing a lot of knife maintenance, I'm looking through the viewfinder so I can't really see what I'm doing. I've already loosened the pocket clip up before. When you take out those screws, by the way, stow them. Have a place where you're going to put them so you don't lose them. I use like a little container like that right there. I'm going to take this screw out right here too because I don't want to JB Weld the head on it. If you do, then you'll never be able to take that screw out without a lot of work. So this one's coming out. I'm going to have to figure out a way also to block this area right here so I can screw it back in. That's going to be a little bit tricky. Okay, so there we have it. We're ready for our work surface to be prepped. A couple ways you could degrease this. You could do brake cleaner on it. That might be what I do now. Or you could alcohol it. The problem with using an alcohol pad, like a disposable one, let me see if I got one, kind of like these. The BD alcohol pads you saw in my level 2, level 1 first aid kit, is it's going to get fuzz on here. You don't want that. You want to degrease it, clean it. Also, hot soapy water will work, and if you just air dry it, I might do that too. Let me go clean it. I'll be right back. Okay, there you go. Taping complete on the AK-47. The tape I chose tonight, Gorilla brand duct tape, because I really need it to stick. So there you have it. And guys may say, oh, you should tape this, tape that, use that. Well, this system will work. This is how I do it. Quick enough. As long as you're careful with the application of JB Weld, it'll be okay. Move that right here. Okay, right about there. Ball it up. Then I'm going to jam it into that screw hole. Yeah, that's working. A little bit more. The game plan on this stuff too is to JB Weld it, let it dry, sand it to final shape, paint it. There you go. I think that'll work. Cotton plug for that screw hole. Might tuck it down a little bit. And I don't care if I JB Weld over that because I can just break through and then extract it later on. By the way, this is what JB Weld looks like in package. Again, I use the quick version. I always date it so I know how long I've had it in storage. It's such a staple in my projects, I always keep it in the shop for just such occasions. I hate having to run to the store in the middle of a project, and it's inexpensive enough. Always keep it on hand. JB Weld. There's two portions of the JB Weld. One's called the steel portion. It's the gray. And then you have the hardener, which is white. Mix them in equal portions. It's pretty clear on the package back of how they want you to do it. I would probably mix up more than less when you're doing this mod. I told you guys I used the quick version. The downside of that is you're going to have to work pretty fast with it. You won't have a lot of sculpting time. From start to finish, this project, if you use the quick JB Weld, depending on the knife, but it's probably going to take me an hour's work to do the underclip modification. Again, it's a shame we have to do this. Cold Steel, if you watch this video, come on, man. Fix those underclip issues. I really don't know what the advantage is having that aggressive G10 under the clip. If you do have to error one way or another, steel versus hardener, I'd prefer to err on the side of the hardener. 50-50 mix is best. Just use a piece of cardboard to mix it up on. There's the back of some sanding paper container that it came in. You could leave it in its form, in its original color. I think that looks bush league though. You want to paint it and make it look like it's a factory job. I think you guys saw this modification on my Cold Steel medium-sized Voyager. I did an underclip JB Weld mod on that one. And no, I didn't get the idea from anybody. I just came up with this. Just trying to apply a commonly used shop substance, at least in the Nutnfancy shop, to a problem I saw. Alright, here we go. Taking the plunge. Notice I went right over that screw hole. And no, I've never done a handle like exactly like this. This one has a lot of places I don't want JB Weld. So I'm trying to be judicious on my application. And I don't want too thick of it. I just want to create a smooth underclip surface is all. Like that right there. You can see it's already starting to coagulate and harden up. If you think, let me take this off. Oh, you know what that was? That was a cotton ball that came out. See that? That's what that was. Huh. Kind of a bummer. There we go. Now guys will say, how thick do you put it on? Well, again, I would go as thin as you can get away with. The problem is that, at least with the quick, you see how it's starting to harden already? Your work time is limited. That's too thin there. If I can see the scaling coming through, it's too thin. It's cool. I don't really have much more time that I can work with this. I mixed up a little bit more than I needed, of course. Okay, a little bit here. I hope that screw hole's okay since I pulled my cotton out on that. I'm trying really hard not to get it in that area under the clip. That would be just a nightmare trying to get that out. Don't expect perfection. If you need it perfect, then you might want to go with regular JB Weld. Really plan out how you're going to do it. I just don't have time for that. I'm just going to do it. Not total rush job, but expeditious maybe. That's about all I can get away with. Now I'm going to let that dry, and then we're going to start sanding. And then if you miss some spots, you can go back. Okay? That's where we are now. Let's let that dry probably about an hour, then we'll come back and resume. And again, the work time I estimate is not counting the drying time. This JB Weld will actually dry quicker than that, but I want to make sure it's really dry so it powders up as I sand it. Alright, the JB Weld has set up. I actually waited a couple hours. By the way, while it's in its soft phase, you can use your knife and actually scrape away excess JB I did it right here, and there's a high part right there I did. And then I actually let this set up a couple hours so it's completely dry and ready for sanding. A couple ways you can do this. You can use a block sander, hand variety like that. Don't use an overly fine sandpaper at first though. This will be what I use for finish sanding. I'm going to use an electric hand sander like this Porter Cable version right here. Quarter sheet sander with an aggressive media on it, about 150 grit to start with. Okay, I'm coming through the handle right there. I got to be careful of that. Remember, this is kind of a use care process. And then if you did not degrease your handle good, you could actually have the JB Weld come chunking out from the handle. That's why we degrease it. We want really good adhesion with this stuff over time, that the work lasts. Okay, at this point I'm going to transition to the block sander, 400 grit sandpaper. And I'm not super concerned if I go into that handle material a little bit. The object of course is to make it smoother, right? So, you know, if I sand it a little bit, make it smoother, whatever, I don't really care. Okay, time to take this tape off to see where I'm at. Your knife will get dirty. That's just the way it goes. You can clean it, blow it out with compressed air afterwards. Yeah, I had some bleed over right there. Darn it. I didn't want that. It'll be hidden when I paint it a little bit. There's a little bit. I think that's adhesive from the tape. That Gorilla tape has really strong adhesive. There's a little bit of flash, bleed over, out comes a Delica. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the results, where it's at. It's fun working on blades. Problem is with TMP and my jobs, it's hard to find time and break away for projects like this. Doing it tonight though. Got like all kinds of reviews I need to do. Doing a tabletop review is the hardest thing I do in the Nutnfancy project. It's just tough. Just got done doing the Choruska Messer SG1 review, and that took me like 50 takes to get it right. 50 takes? Yeah. I'm pretty picky too. Some of my friends have come over while I'm doing a review and they'll go, dude, that review was fine, why'd you stop? I don't know, I just didn't like it. Didn't like what I was saying in the review. Didn't like where it was going. I thought my introduction was dumb. It's embarrassing. Picky though, it's got to be just so. Not every review I post is like that either. There's some that I think are better than others. I don't say which. The way I judge a review, I think I've said this before in an interview or something, is basically if it's something I like watching. You know, if it's just interesting to me, then I think it'll be interesting to my audience. And if I find myself having spent, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, whatever the review length is, and I'm just sitting there watching Kind of like watching someone else's material. I think, oh, that might be good enough to post. Here I go on the back side of this. And again, this might become moot as cold steel maybe gets to Kluber that they shouldn't do underhand or under pocket clip presentations like this. Okay, that's where we're at right now. I'm pretty happy with that. See how we're just kind of have that checkering start peeking through. I think I need a little bit more sanding right here. And I said that JB Quick is what I like using. And I think initially I said just let it dry an hour. I'm going to change that and say let it dry completely. As you can see, you need it to be totally and completely sandable. Okay, if it's wet at all, you might pull it out from your handle, you know. So it'll be readily apparent if it's sandable or not. You can see that this is right now. If you use regular JB Weld, you're going to have to wait longer. Is there another material you can use? Probably. I've been pretty happy with this one though in several uses this way. It's a great knife. This new AK-47 by Cold Steel, they did a great job with it. I much prefer it over the old version. Huge. And now I've got to take all that adhesive off. I'm not going to use brake cleaner right now because this is not fully cured JB Weld, and I don't want to introduce such a hard solvent to it. Here, now that I have a smooth surface, alcohol would be the order of the day. And that alcohol swab I just showed you a while back is probably what I'm going to use. And I need to take that adhesive off too. Let's see if my cotton swab thing worked pretty good. I'm going to just stab right through here with the Delica. Get down here. Hope this isn't boring for you guys. Yep, it worked. Remember that some of that cotton swab came out during the gluing process? The main thing is I preserve this recessed screw hole without JB Weld in it because it would create a lot of work for me if it gets in there to a large degree. And that's a recessed hole that's mated for that screw, so we don't want to have it too big. Sorry if I'm off center here. Looking at the knife itself, not through the viewfinder. There we go. So yeah, that cotton seemed like it worked just fine. And then that screw will go right down in there. That's kind of where we are right now. Time to turn on the compressor, start cleaning it. It's getting ready for paint. So as you can see, it's not a hugely laborious modification. Everything takes time though. There's that Gorilla adhesive I'm going to take off. You can see the alcohol will take that off. Got to rub it kind of vigorously to get it off though. Like that. That's going to be cool when it's done. It's going to be so nice. I was wearing this AK-47 in my pocket today and I was not happy with how much aggressive traction it had on my pocket, and I could just see that it was going to be a problem. And I've had other knives like that before too. New alcohol swab. They just rip to shreds your pocket. Not cool. There we go. Oh, this is going to look cool. Look at that. See the fill? All we're going to do is paint it, and we will definitely tape for that. I'll probably use painter's tape for that at that point. What song are you singing, Nutnfancy? Don't know. Maybe I'll put music to this. Music. Most things go better with music. Alright, compressor goes on. We're going to dry it. Spray it. I'm just going to use regular masking tape since it's not on the handle for too long. If it was, then I would use painter's tape. Be careful of that blade because it kind of needs to be in the extended position when you're painting it. And I actually probably need to mask this too. The pommel. I don't want to spray that either. I want it to look normal. You know, I could probably unscrew that. Yeah, I could if I wanted to. I don't want to though. too much work. I'm just going to do this. Not needed either. And since I'm doing black on black, and some guys will say, why do you care? It's black spray paint. And other guys may say, why aren't you Duracoating it? Duracoat is awesome, and I could mix up a batch. Maybe I will later, but it's a lot of work just for the one end of a knife. Especially when I've proven that spray paint, at least a quality spray paint like Krylon, will work pretty good. You know, in this application, and the application is a high traction application. In other words, there's really no adhesion problems that the spray paint's going to have. And if it wears off, I can always come back and reshoot it in Krylon. I'm sorry, in Duracoat. So right there. Okay, blow it out with some compressed air. Double check. Do I mind if overspray? These are questions I'm asking myself. Do I care if overspray goes inside the handle here? Not really, but I don't want it to overshoot to the other side. Just want to put some tape like this. Not needed. Do a test spray. Make sure that's coming out right. Yep. Shake it up really good. Alright, double check. Make sure it's dust free because it kind of locks that dust on there. A little bit more compressed air maybe. There's a little something there. Where'd my Delica go? Yeah, I love these Delicas. Such good knives. Nice fine tip. There we see again how a fine tip just totally helps out in everyday utility roles. This tape is not wanting to stay. I'm not super concerned about it though. So I'll do that. Okay, and then I'm going to get a heat gun to help the heating process just a little bit. Make sure you don't get too close on your heat gun. This is my Ace Hardware Super Thrashed heat gun. I'm holding it about, I don't know, 10-12 inches away. Don't go too close or you'll boil, not boil, but make the paint bubble. All I want to do is provide heat for it curing better. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for about an hour and come back. And again, the work time when I said an hour is actually an hour work. Your waiting time is going to be longer. We'll be back in a little bit. Do another shot. I thought the camera was on. I just did the second coat. That's what it looks like. By the way, this is satin. So it's not ultra flat, not glossy, black, just satin Krylon paint. Oh! I thought I smacked that handle, man. Not cool. I'm so lucky on that. Krylon paint. The light's like right in the way. I have to put a light on there, otherwise you guys can't see it. Oh, what a dork. I probably could have waited a little bit longer for this paint to dry, but it'll be okay. As long as you don't manhandle it, it'll survive. Again, exposed blade here. Be careful. Careful. Oh, this is going to be a cool mod on this AK. In a way, it's kind of cool that cold steel doesn't do it. That way, if you mod yours out, it'll just be all that more special. Oh, crap. I got some on the blade here. I'll have to take that off carefully. Kind of like that, carefully. Good enough. Okay, that's what it looks like so far. Time to reassemble. Now, could I shoot it with another coat of paint? Yeah, I could. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. This is kind of a utility modification. In other words, first type of cool, I just want to increase clip utility. I think all these screws sizes are the same. Pretty sure they... First this one. I don't tighten them all the way until all 3 screws are in. Of course, if you're a lefty, you'd have to do it on that side, the handle mod. Got some on that portion right there. A little bit of weld on the opposite side. I'm not sure how. I'm not going to shoot brake cleaner on it though, yet. There you go, the underclip JB Weld modification as performed by me, Nutnfancy. Pretty easy to do, as you've seen. Looks pretty good too, don't you think? Almost factory. And you've gotten rid of all the pocket shredding characteristics of that G10 handle, which is excellent for traction, not so great for under the clip. Hope you liked it. Nutnfancy in the shop. See ya.